Hello friends, this episode of the podcast is sponsored by Hanky Law. Hanky Law likes solving your problems when they happen, but loves anticipating them so they don't. They provide real people with real solutions to help get your life moving forward. Hanky Law provides criminal defense, family law, personal injury, and civil law. Listen, the legal system can be intimidating and scary. If you find yourself in the legal system, it's important to have lawyers who can explain the process, navigate the legal system, and protect your rights. Hanky Law's experienced attorneys use their knowledge to skillfully defend their clients. Maybe your family is needing representation during a stressful or emotional event. Hanky Law can help. Hanky Law is comprised of Blake and Kelsi Hanky with a family of their own, so you can trust they understand the value of keeping the best interests of you, your finances, your future, and the long-term interests of your children in mind. If you are needing legal help in North Dakota or Minnesota, go to hankyjustice.com or call 701-746-4529. Hanky Law, counselors and attorneys at law.
Welcome to the Cloud Surfing Podcast.
Just hold tight.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. How are you today?
There you go.
Good.
You got it.
Can you see me?
Yep.
Awesome. How are you doing today?
Good.
Good. Thanks for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
So, how are you today? Where are you from today?
What would you say? I'm sorry.
Where are you from?
I'm from West Lafayette. Well, Delphi. I'm from Delphi, but I live in West Lafayette.
West Lafayette. Are you in college now?
I am. I go to Purdue.
Purdue? Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big university. What's Purdue like?
It's pretty big.
I've never been there. What's that one like?
It's huge. There's a lot of engineering students there. That's what it's known for. But I go for psychology and forensics. It's pretty cool. It's a cool place.
I went to a smaller school. I went to the University of North Dakota. There's only I think 3,000 students per class. Not very many students.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, I really appreciate you being on the show today. Obviously, I wish it was under better terms that we could meet, but I really do appreciate meeting you, and I appreciate everything that you've been doing since all this began. I guess how I got into it, I found out that there's an FBI's Most Wanted in Henderson, Nevada, where I live. I'm like, oh my god, I want to see who this guy is. And that's how I ended up coming across your sister's case. Personally, there's 8 siblings in my family, and I'm the second oldest. So kids have always been kind of always had like a special place in my heart. So this story's always kind of struck me a little closer to home than some others. So I guess to start off with, if you could just give me some background of Delphi, the area that you're from.
Yeah, Delphi is a really small town. I think our population's only 4,000 people. My graduating class was 96, maybe even less than that. So very small. Absolutely nothing to do other than eat and go to the parks, play sports in school, and walk the trails with your friends. Pretty much, that's about it. Everybody knows everybody. That's how small it is. So you could walk down the street and you probably know the name of the person that you walk past. It's very small, but it's a very tight-knit community. Everybody gets along that I know of, and everybody just works together to do things.
Yeah, it's a Midwestern town. I mean, the Midwest is a really nice area. I'm from Wisconsin, but obviously everything up there is pretty relatively the same. So what got you into forensic psychology in college? What made you get down that road?
So when my sister was murdered, I was a junior in high school. And I wanted to be a photojournalist. I wanted to, like, go out and, like, be on the news and that kind of thing. And so when I started the classes for it, it was really interesting. I actually went to a different school that was actually for journalism, or that's, like, one of their main majors there. But while I was taking the classes, I realized that, like, that just wasn't my passion anymore. And I started advocating for victims' families on the internet, and I started going to CrimeCon. And when I started going to these different things, I found that I really wanted to understand why people do this kind of thing. Why do they murder people? Why do they want to hurt people? What leads them down that road and that behavior? So then I started studying psychology a little more. I was taking more psychology classes. And then I knew I wanted to work with homicide victims. So the forensic side of it just helps me to get a better understanding of the crime scene and the background of the investigation. So I decided forensic psychology would be a good way to start studying criminals and people that commit violent crime. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into it.
Have you always been kind of into true crime at all, or is it kind of a newer thing since the events happened?
I was actually kind of into it before. I definitely knew that forensic psychology was something I was interested in. I watched a lot of true crime shows, a lot of ID Channel, a lot of Oxygen, and I spent a lot of time watching those, a lot of Hollywood shows too that I don't watch them because I know how not real they are, but I used to watch them a lot, so that's kind of what I did before. Now I don't actually watch them as much, but I used to watch them all the time.
Yeah, one of my favorite shows growing up was NCIS. You ever heard of that one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I used to watch that too. And then after I started taking my forensics classes, I was, like, over-analyzing all of these, like, Hollywood TV shows. So I'd be like, wow, they're not wearing gloves in that crime scene. Or, like, did they really just do that? Like, that is not allowed in a crime scene. Like, are they really bringing water bottles in and, like, getting their DNA all over? Like, that should not be happening. And so I had to stop watching them.
I think one of the funniest things for me was, like, when they would go into the lab and they could enhance any image, like, 5,000 times and make out a license plate from 40 yards away with, like, a 2-megapixel camera. That part,
yeah, exactly.
that killed me every time. Like, I have been with computers a long time, and I've never been able to clean up an image like that.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's possible. Not as well as they do it.
So in Delphi, where a community where everyone knows everyone, I'm guessing that means, like, everyone's pretty close together. But for Abby and Libby to have kind of a closer relationship, obviously that's kind of a more special thing. If you're able to, would you be able to tell us about Libby and Abby a little more?
Yeah, I can tell you a lot more about Libby than Abby. I can tell you a little about their friendship. So, yeah, in Delphi, everybody knows everybody, but you also have a group of people that you're closest to. So Libby she was actually really popular. She had a ton of friends, but she had a select few that she was best friends with, and Abby was one of those. So Libby and Abby grew really close because they were opposite, but they had a lot in common too. So Libby was a lot more outgoing than Abby, so whenever Libby would be a little too much, Abby was able to calm Libby down. So they complimented each other in the best ways possible. And then they both played the saxophone in the band. They both played sports in school. They joined clubs. And they were both really interested in joining the FBI, being, like, investigators of some sort. Libby wanted to be a pathologist and, like, study diseases and, like, what kills people. I think Abby wanted to be, like, more like on an FBI side, like a criminal investigator, if I understood that right. I'm not really sure. I didn't know Abby very well, unfortunately, but they were just really great friends. They loved each other, and they had a lot of fun.
Oh, that's awesome. One thing that I noticed during this event was that they never left each other's side. And I guess growing up, I grew up in a smaller town too, but not as small as Delphi by any means. And I mean, I had one of my best friends growing up, Josh. He and I have gotten into some shit together, and I guess as terrible as it sounds, like when we got in trouble, we ran. I mean, we just booked it. We did this. We played this game, and this is I don't recommend it, but we would go in the park and light off fireworks, and then wait for the cops to come, and so we could run away.
Yeah.
It's just small town games, and I guess seeing them stay by each other's side the whole time, it's humbling, even for like full grown adults to see that. That's humbling, and I don't know. There's not a whole lot of loyalty like that in the world, you know. So that's, to me, that hits me at a different level personally, I guess. I'm sorry, I just lost my note here. So
It's okay.
I just wanted to outline the case, I guess. During the events, it was a pretty normal day. You guys had a day off of school. Since I first reached out to you, I tried to read like every news article and anything out there. And so correct me if I'm wrong, but it was a kind of a day off. Was everyone aware that it was going to be a day off, or was it more just like a spontaneous snow day?
Yeah, so at Delphi, I assume other schools do this too, but I'm not sure. We had built-in snow days. So over winter vacation, or before winter vacation, if there was a day that it snowed really bad and they had to cancel school, we would just have, that would be one of our days later that we wouldn't get off. But if we didn't have to cancel school, we would get that day off of school as like a snow makeup day. It just made up for the day that we either had to cancel school or for whatever reason. It could have been fog or snow or whatever in the past semester, and we needed another day at school. So we would go if there was a reason school was canceled. But that year, we didn't have to use that day. So we got the day off. And so everybody would have been pretty aware of that. I know everybody at school was aware of that.
Okay, and since it's a smaller town, I'm guessing if the word gets out, the word kind of gets out that the kids are going to be out of school on Friday, you know?
Yeah, and it would also have been on, like, our school website, like, on our calendar, saying, hey, the kids will have this day off.
Do you guys have, like, a local news station that, like, does all, like, the, you know, school's clothing, you know, or closing on the bottom? Do you guys have something like that? Yeah, that's another, I guess that would be a big thing, too, that would, so I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, this, whoever did this might have been aware that might have been the day to hit the trails, and that's upsetting because these trails were a common trail among the youth in Delphi, correct?
Yeah, it was like I said earlier, there's not a whole lot to do in Delphi, so when we have a day off, or even in the evening, sometimes we'll go out with our families and hang out at the trails. It's just one of the only things to do, so you go out and enjoy them. And Delphi has a lot of really beautiful scenery, so a lot of the time, students or family members would go out and just take pictures and hang out there.
So, in pictures, a great picture was a picture that Libby took of Abby on the bridge. That's a great picture. Truthfully, it's unfortunate that's one of the last ones, but it's a wonderful picture. And I think what your sister did with her camera that day might be the reason why we catch this guy. And by we, I mean people who are, you know what they're doing. I'm just a podcaster. I think with your sister, was she someone who was usually taking pictures, or was that more of like she might have known something was happening and she needed to record this guy?
So that was something that me and Libby did a lot together. We were both really into photography. So they actually went out there to take pictures. They wanted to like take pictures, and I think at the time TikTok was called Musical.ly.
Yep.
So I think they were making like little videos to share on Musical.ly. And so like that was what they were out there doing. When it comes to the video of the man on the bridge, though, I do think that maybe she felt a little uncomfortable with this man. I can't come up with another reason for myself why she would have taken that video. So I feel like she knew something was wrong, something was a little off with this guy. I don't think she knew what was going to happen, but I think she took the video thinking, when I get home, I'm going to tell my grandpa about this guy, or I'm going to turn this in because this guy's really weird and I don't want him to do anything to anyone. And that's very, very much something Libby would have done.
Well, especially if they're already thinking at their age, hey, I'm going to be in the FBI or some sort of pathologist. I mean, her brain's already in the right place. And, unfortunately, in the world we live in, it's not the safest world out there yet. It's safer than ever, but it's not the safest world yet. And
Exactly.
it's really good that she had the wherewithal to get that image of him and that audio clip of him. And I'm sure most of the world by now has heard the Down the Hill clip. And for whatever reason, that clip keeps me up at night. The way that he it's calm with the guys and then down the hill, and it's like, for whatever reason, that hits me a little hard. And it's amazing to me that it's going on 3 years and we still don't know who this guy is. I guess I've been through a couple forums. I guess every Facebook page I could find, a couple Twitter pages, and it looks like one of the biggest things that people talk about with Bridge Guy is the way he's dressed. The first image that came out of Bridge Guy was the police sketch. Was how many years was that, the sketch?
Like, what year did the sketch come out?
The first one with like the older looking man.
The first sketch came out in July of 2017, so it was actually the same year. A couple months later, February to July, like 6 months, I think is what that is. And then the next sketch came out in 2019, so it would have been 2 years.
Okay. So in my understanding was they had the other sketch originally, but then some other information would have came up that would have been like, hey, maybe this isn't our guy. In the town, I saw just I watched that meeting that was given by Superintendent. I cannot believe I'm forgetting his name at the moment. He in that meeting when he released the new image, and the whole town almost seemed very shocked that this image was almost a complete 180 of the previous image. What was it like in town after that happened?
So when that press conference happened, I was actually away at college. I was in Muncie at Ball State University. That's where I was going at the time. So I wasn't actually there. I learned the news at the same time as everybody else was learning it. My grandma called and told me, hey, they're releasing a new sketch, and I'm like, okay. And then I didn't get to see the sketch or hear anything about it until the press conference happened. That's all I was allowed to know. Just because my grandma didn't have a picture of it, she couldn't send it to me or anything. She just called me to tell me, hey, this is what's happening. I didn't even think she mentioned that they were going to release more audio. I think all she told me about was the sketch. But I think in town, from what I knew, all of my friends were being looked into. So, like, the Facebook detectives were coming out and being like, oh, this could be a 20-year-old, which was about the age I was at. I was about 19. Because I think they said that the age range is, like, 18 to 40 or something now, which is very general. So they were looking at a lot of my friends. So I know that everybody was looking at everybody. They were just watching their shoulders. And looking at everybody they know, because it could be anyone. And I think especially after they said that it could be somebody local, it probably is somebody local, I think is what Carter said. After they said that, they knew that we had to be more cognizant of the people around us. It could be our neighbor, and it could be the person we're walking past down the street. So people were just paying more attention and being more careful about who they were talking to and being around.
Especially during the press conference when he said to the individual in question who could be in this room. And
exactly.
if it's thinking back to my childhood, if something like that would have occurred in my town, and it was someone that we possibly knew, I don't know how I would feel. It's almost like because I'm guessing Delphi does not have much of a crime history in it. Usually small towns are pretty safe, pretty good. So when something such as this happens in Delphi, it's got to be almost like, what in holy hell is happening? You know, it would be almost a shell shock to the culture of the town. When people are living in a town where everyone's kind of looking over their shoulder, what overall changed socially between the dynamic of people, how they communicated in town? Were they more tight-lipped to each other, or was people more talkative, or what was it kind of like around town after that?
I don't think anything changed between people. I think we were less trusting. I know, talking to the sheriff, we heard that more people were getting security systems. More people were getting their gun permits and carrying, especially in their homes. Before, people didn't lock their doors. There's still some people that move to Delphi and don't know about it, so they don't lock their doors, but eventually after they hear, they're like, okay, well, we're gonna lock it now because they feel less safe. But I think that's probably the biggest change. It just started to feel less safe, and I think as time goes on, people are starting to feel safer, and it's getting back to that normal that we used to have again. But I know right after, especially after the most recent press conference, people were like, wow, this guy could be right next to us and we don't even know it. So people were learning, like, we need to stay safer and we need to lock our doors and we need to get security systems and carry a firearm if that's what we think we need to do. So that was happening a lot more.
When it came to your friends being investigated, what is that like? Because that must have been a little, I guess, pressure on your shoulders, like, well, they're investigating my friends. I mean, I'm sure you had that feeling like, it couldn't be my friends, but at the same time, they're investigating your friends, What is that like?
And it wasn't like the police were investigating them. They did if the tip was turned in, but it was random people on the internet going after my friends, which was the hardest part. So these are people that I've grown up with, I went to school with for my entire life, and all of a sudden I have to, like, look back and say, like, could it have been this person? Like, they obviously weren't in school that day. We had the day off, so, like, what were they doing? And a lot of my friends, before they were even investigated or talked to by police or slammed on the internet by random internet trolls, a lot of them would come to me and be like, hey, Kelsi, before anyone even says anything, like, I just want to tell you this is where I was, or this is who I was with, or this is what I was doing, just because they didn't want me to think that it was them. They wanted, like, no doubt there. And a lot of them, I was like, yeah, I know. Like, there's absolutely no way you did that. And if there was any doubt that I had, I definitely would have told the police about any person. So I looked at all of my friends and I was like, could it have been this person? And I did turn some of their names in, I do know that. Just because they looked like the guy. Not because I thought they could do it, but they looked like him. And I think that's what a lot of people were doing. They were just looking at pictures of people on the internet and putting it next to a sketch and saying this could be him. And even the thought of it being any of my friends kind of, like, it gave me anxiety. I was like, could I have been friends with somebody that was that type of person? But in the end, I don't think it was any of my friends. So, I guess we'll see.
I guess that is a big one. The internet mobs. I've noticed that. I mean, I've only been really, a month or two, looking into it, but just it seems like people really forget when they're behind the monitor, there's someone else on the other end of the monitor, and there's been so many rumors and unneeded attention towards theories that would never have happened. I mean, I read a theory the other day that it was the CIA that was trying to cover up a drug running operation. I'm serious. Yeah. Like, what is that? That's not even worth anyone's time. So I guess I saw you put out a video to kind of put to rest some of these rumors, some of these lies, and some of these these unneeded talking points. What is it like being on the receiving end of that? Because I haven't, thankfully, I haven't been on too big of the end of an internet mob yet. I've been on the end of one of them, but not too big yet. What is it like just to have random people you've never met accusing friends and just making up wild theories about a very serious topic?
Yeah, these people, they pick a person, it doesn't matter who it is, and they just go after them. Like, a lot of my family has been on the backlash of it, a lot of my close friends, a lot of people that I know, a lot of people have come to me from the internet and been like, hey, this is happening, and then I end up befriending them, and now I'm friends with these people because we all have this in common now. And they're like, I would never do anything like this, but these people are saying these awful things about me, and I'm like, I don't even know them. And it's very hard to get through. You just have to know that, like, a lot of these people are idiots. Like, they don't know what they're talking about. A lot of them, they want to help, their heart's in the right place, but they're doing it in the wrong way. And you have to kind of deal with it if you want the word to keep being spread and you want people to keep talking about the case. That's just kind of part of it. And that's what I try to tell everybody. Like, yeah, it sucks. These people are awful, they're ruthless, and a lot of them are mean and hateful, and a lot of them are going to twist whatever you say and turn it into something that'll fit their agenda no matter what. Whether you know what the truth is or not, they're going to make it so that whatever they say is true. So in the end, the truth is going to come out, and what these people say really doesn't matter. One day, some of them might be right. Maybe one of them is right. Maybe they have the right person, but sharing a side-by-side of a person and continuously bashing a person isn't going to get the case solved. So it's just part of it right now. We have to deal with it. But someday it'll stop, I hope. I guess we'll find out.
I was talking with just via email, just asking to clarify some points of the case with some of the representatives from the State Patrol. Superintendent Carter made it very clear that a sketch is a sketch, and that the sketch is there not to identify someone as this is a picture of the person. It's a sketch of the person where if you knew the person and that person was gone for the day or whatever, then that would ring a bell like, oh, maybe I should. That's what a sketch is for, is to ring a bell of someone who would have already had an idea that this might be the person. So, there's people are taking pictures of different angles of people from the internet. Like I saw someone was literally out on the street taking pictures of a crossing guard in your town and then putting side by side. Unacceptable to me. I mean, you're stalking a crossing guard. What are you doing?
Exactly.
Not okay. Stuff like that to me is a little. It's just unacceptable, and it's not helping the case at all. If you want to help the case, you can by helping the case and respectfully, I guess, asking and how you can, instead of just assuming that putting 15 different people next to one picture and claiming all of them are the same guy, it's not really going to help. So, I guess, is there anything that you would like our listeners, or my listeners, I guess, to know right off the bat? Like, is there a bigger rumor than others that need to be put to bed right away?
I don't think so. I think actually lately it's been pretty quiet. I think people are running out of things to talk about. There's one in particular troll that will continue to put himself out there and bash people, and once he realizes that it's not one person, he goes to another person. And I think that he'll continue doing that, and I just hope that anybody listening to any podcast would know not to listen to this person. And hopefully when they see posts made by this person, they will steer away from them and know that, like, this is not helping the case, and that's not the type of person we should be getting our information from.
When we're off air, would you mind telling me, just so I know to avoid this person?
He goes by Dexter the Bounty Hunter.
Okay.
But he also goes by 10,000 other names, so, Right now he's going on Keith Coker, so if you see a post about Keith Coker, that's probably Dexter. And I think like 2 weeks ago he was on somebody named Scott LaFond who lives in Delphi. So he switches up pretty quick. You'll see his posts on mine. I can't block him fast enough, and so every time I block him, he'll create a new account so he can post on my page again. I think he even has one. So my tag on Twitter is libertyg_sister. And he has an account called libertyg_sis. And his profile picture is of me and Scott LaFond's son in middle school. We went to semi-formal together as a group of friends. So if you see that around, that's on there too.
That's, I don't know what to say. That's kind of nasty.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all. That makes me uncomfortable. Dexter, if you're listening, what the hell, dude? It's not cool at all. I mean, impersonating someone, trying to... I don't know if he's trying to get the glory or the fame or what he thinks he's going to get out of it, but if you're listening, dude, you're not getting any of it. I just want you to know you're kind of a piece of garbage.
He's done it to several of their cases, I know. One he was working on was D.B. Cooper. I think like Unabomber or something. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
And then he actually did it to the Golden State Killer victims too. So he's been out there a while doing this stuff.
So, all right. I almost want to look into this guy and talk to him some point. I want to try to hunt him down. I'm going to try to track this guy down. That sounds like fun to me.
Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, because people like that, it almost seems like they're almost just sitting in their house looking for something to do, and especially during a pandemic where there's literally nothing else to do, I'm guessing this is what he's filling his time with, and people like that almost need to just have a conversation and be like, hey man, what are you doing? What are you doing? Do you need help? Do you need to get a job somewhere? I'll help you with your resume. I'll do it. We can sit down. You know? Oh, man.
At one point, I might have his phone number. I think I had somebody, like they were trying to figure out who he really is, because he goes by Derek Godsey is what people think his real name is. And we think he lives in Alabama. That's about the most information we've got. And I think somebody did like one of those internet searches where you like pay and get information on someone.
Mm-hmm.
I think they got his phone number. I think I have that somewhere.
Well, let me and some of my friends look into him a little bit and see what we can find. Some of my friends are pretty good on the internet, so we'll see what I'll ask them to do some help with me here.
Good luck. Let me know how it goes.
I have a friend who sat in federal prison for hacking. He's a great guy. He is a nice guy. He's got kids. He just did something stupid once.
That's okay. It happens.
Yeah, you know, he. I don't even know if he knew what he was doing wrong either. He just wanted to learn. He's like broke into NASA's website. So, you know, sometimes you got to do that. So currently in the case, they kind of have released bits and pieces, but not everything. And that's obvious because there's some things only the person responsible is going to know. Do you know if they are planning on releasing anything further in the future, or are they kind of planning on keeping it where it's at for a while longer?
I think for now they're probably not going to release anything. I think if it comes down to the point where the only way they're going to catch him is if they release more, they might. But as of right now, I don't think that there's anything that they are willing to give up. They're just holding it as tight as they can, because if they give something out and they aren't able to use it in court, that could be the piece of evidence that says, like, if he's going to go to prison or not. And to them and to us, I think it's more important that we catch this guy and that he is in prison for the rest of his life, instead of sharing information that we could just keep to ourselves. And I think that's the right way to go. I think they're doing what they should be doing.
So you do believe that what they're doing is a good method so far?
Absolutely, and I think they're doing everything they can. Actually, I know they're doing everything that they can. Our investigators are awesome, and they're not going to do anything that could jeopardize the case. So, as many times as I've talked to them, I have them on speed dial now. So, if I have any questions, they're always there to help me out and make sure that I know that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
They seem and just from the short bits of information that I've gotten, they still have at least 6 active investigators on the case daily, which is incredible to me. There's not a whole lot of cases that have that. So personally, I'm optimistic that this is gonna happen. I think he's gonna get arrested. Personally, I'm optimistic. I think that whoever it is sitting in his house thinking every single day could be the day. And that makes me happy to know that he's living in pure anxiety all the time, knowing that today could be the day that his ass is going down. I love it.
Me too. I actually had the opportunity to go talk to some of the investigators. 3 of them. They were super great guys. I remember them by the 2 Widows Peaks and the bald guy. Just so you know. I definitely want to hear that because they listen to all of these.
Hey guys, how are you?
Yeah. They're cool. Nice. So I actually got to talk to them, and they're so nice. It's just, they renewed my hope that they're going to continue to do their job, and they're going to continue to do this until it's done. So everything that they said to me, I know that, like, they're still working on it, and that gave me a lot of hope. So I was lacking that. I needed that conversation. I was getting to the point where I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing any more interviews. It's not helping. It's just making people bash me. It's bringing in more internet trolls. More people are looking at the case, but is it worth it in the end? Like, it's been 3.5 years, and I'm not seeing any movement, and they hadn't talked to any of us in a while. They hadn't contacted us directly. We've contacted them. But when they called me out of the blue one day and they're like, hey, we want to talk to you again. We want to see if we can help you out. What more information we can get. See if we can get any new information or anything. We're just going back over things. And that just renewed my hope. Just made me realize, wow, they really are still working on this. And if they are, I am too.
Awesome. Well, there's a giant podcast lately that just covered the case. My Favorite Murder. If you're familiar, I'm sure you're familiar with My Favorite Murder.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia Hartstark. She's hilarious. I love her. She's a great person. But in the interview, this is kind of why I wanted to ask you about the pieces of information being released, because after she kind of came out and said they need to release more information. It's been too long, stuff like that. And when a big voice comes out and says something like that, it tends to draw a crowd of thousands to say, hey, you know what, they do need to do that. And then you've got 14 million tweets coming out at the Indiana State Police trying to tell them what they need to do to do their job. So I guess that's why I didn't want to share any opinion on it. I wanted to hear yours, and it's good to know that you think that what they're doing is gonna help at the end of the day. That's comforting for me, and I hope that people listening, I hope that helps comfort you, because at the end of the day, internet sleuths aren't going to solve the case. It's going to be Superintendent Carter and his crew. They've been doing it for 3.5 years. They've been working on it. They have more information than we know about, and there's a point where you just need to have faith and trust that they can do this, and I think they can.
Yeah, they definitely can. And I think it's also important to remember that a year and a half ago, April 2019, they said, we're going in a new direction. This is what we're doing now, and we have to change from what we were doing before to something different. So if you think about it, their new direction started in April 2019, which means that their first investigation was the first year prior. So what they were doing then isn't what they're doing now, and so in terms of that, they do have 2 separate investigations. They were looking at it in one angle, and now they're looking at it in a different one. So really, it's been a year and a half for them looking at it in the way they're looking at it now, with a new set of eyes and new investigators. So hopefully that new direction is what's going to solve it. So for us, yeah, it's been 3.5 years, but they also started completely over. So now they're looking at it differently, and now we have to think about it as a different timeline. 2 separate timelines.
That's a good way of thinking about it, actually.
I think that's, yeah, it gives you more hope, I think, if you think about it that way. They started over April 2019. So it's a different investigation than when it started in the beginning.
February of this year, there was not a press conference for the first time in the case. Do you believe that was more of, because everything that they do, I'm guessing, is intentional. I'm sure they had a conversation about we should or should not have a press conference. And I'm just curious what some of the ideas were going around as to why they didn't have a press conference.
From what I think I understand is that they just didn't have anything new to share. A press conference is usually done when there's something that they want to give out to the public. And although I do think that they could have went out and said, hey, we're still working on it, it's still an open investigation, we're doing everything we can, they didn't do that, but they didn't have anything to give out. So I think their mindset was, we don't have anything new, we're just not going to do a press conference this year.
That makes sense. Especially, I mean, in the year before was such a heavier press conference too. I'm sure there is a point too where they don't want the entire town to constantly be almost traumatized, you know, which makes sense to me. Currently, I'm sorry, let me back up. So, before that, if I could go back to the case a little bit. So, because I kind of went off on a tangent. I'm sorry about that. So they walk across the bridge, and there's the video of Bridge Guy, and some of the rumor is what he's wearing in that video. Is he wearing a hat? Is he not? Is he wearing too many layers to make himself look thicker than he is? Things like that. The video stability is actually very stable. I've seen the original video that they released, and then the one that like the FBI and the state lab fixed. What is your opinion on that video? And what I'm just curious. Do you have an opinion on if the first sketch was more accurate or the second sketch was more accurate, or are you just kind of keeping an open mind towards it?
I try not to have an opinion. Usually if a family member has an opinion, people tend to take that as fact, so I try not to put that stuff out there. But I am really glad we have it. I'm really glad we have that and that it's out there, and that more of it was put out in April. I think that was really helpful. I think it's going to be helpful in the end that somebody is able to see him walk. But also remember that as he's walking across that bridge is terrifying. It's super high up. There's huge gaps. So with that in mind, look at the way he's walking. See if you know his gait. If you've ever seen, like if you went to the bridge with this person, you would know what he looks like walking across the bridge. So, and I do think that he's crossed the bridge before. That is an opinion I have, and I can give that one.
I believe that he had his hands in his pockets. If you're crossing a bridge, for folks who haven't seen this bridge, I would really recommend Googling pictures of it. It's really high. It's a really high up there bridge, and there's no like railings. You know, is this bridge open to the public, or is it kind of closed and people just go anyway?
It's kind of closed now. Technically, I'm speaking prior to the murders. After, I'm not really sure anymore because I don't go out there. Before, it was actually at the end of the trail system. You weren't supposed to go on the bridge, but people did anyway. Kind of like you're not supposed to walk on the grass on college campuses sometimes, but people do it anyway. It's just kind of a thing that you do. But that bridge is super tall, and I know the first time I went across it, I crawled across it, and only because Libby said she wanted to cross it. That bridge is so scary.
It looks really scary. There's no way I'd cross that bridge, I'm telling you right now.
I know when we were out doing the searches on the 14th, I was in the group that actually crossed the bridge, because there were some people in our group that didn't want to. I went over with, like, 3 or 4 of us went across the bridge and got to the other side, and I remember being the first one across it. I would never walk that fast, but that day I was, like, in, like, search mode. I was on a mission to find my sister, and I, like, ran across it, but any other time, absolutely not. You won't see me go across it ever again, probably.
Seeing those images of the search party was humbling. There was a lot of people on those search parties. What was the search organization? Because obviously, as it goes, your sister wanted to go to the bridge or wanted to go to the trails, and you said, "Hey, here's a sweatshirt. Make sure you wear this." And then, how did the search get started after that?
So that day, after I dropped them off, I'd actually went to my then boyfriend's house, and I was going to get ready for work there, and we're doing some other things, hanging out. And that's when I got the call after he left for work, and I was in the house waiting for my turn to go to work. And I remember my phone ringing twice, and it was my grandma both times freaking out because they couldn't get a hold of the girls. And not very long after that, my whole family was out there on the trails looking for them. And at about 5:30, we contacted the police. My grandparents went to the police station, and some of us stayed there and were searching. And not long after that, we posted on social media so much trying to figure out where they were. Our whole community was out there searching. And not really in any organized fashion the first night. It was more like, if you can help search, come out and help. And it was just everybody coming. Nothing was getting written down. Everybody was just out everywhere searching. And that was during the night. The next morning, though, everybody was asked to meet at the fire station then. Now it's just our city hall. So everybody was meeting there, and the fire department separated us up into groups to go to different places, and that's how we got put in the areas we were going to look.
So, so that actually clears up a lot, because a lot of the, as it goes, is that the first night almost seems like it was an official search party, but it sounds like it was just a social media, like, let's get some friends out here and let's do some looking, because there's a lot of scrutiny about the night, that first night that the search was, like, quote unquote called off. Makes a lot more sense now, because there wasn't an official search. So
yeah.
There really wasn't.
So technically there was an official search. Police had asked people to come out and help. But in the evening, when it started to get dark, the police said that it was called off. They didn't want people out there because it was too dangerous. But that's not how our town is. Yeah, the police said no. The police said we shouldn't be out there. But 2 teenage girls are missing, and this was the last place they were. So our entire town stayed out there. They were out there all night.
That's awesome.
My grandpa was out there until from very late. We were all out there very late. So I know that police did call it off, but just because they said it was called off does not mean that the search stopped.
That's awesome. I've never been to Delphi, but I already love your town. The people in Delphi seem awesome. They really do.
It's an awesome place. I don't want to stay there forever, but there are people that do. Their whole families are there, and it's amazing. It's a great time to live in.
Well, in 2020, you don't really have to be anywhere anymore forever to be there. You can just hop on a plane, and 15 minutes later, you're back home. It's pretty crazy.
I think Delphi is my hometown, and I'll always love it. I think that after what happened, though, every time I go into Delphi, I'll always think of my sister. And that's going to be the only thing I think about when I'm there. And I want to be able to live my own life someday after this guy's caught. Hopefully, very soon I'll be able to live that life. But I want to be able to go places and not be known as Libby's sister. I want to be known as Kelsi, or whatever I want to go by, wherever I am, which I don't get here. So that's why I want to live.
And that's, that's kind of been where I've been trying to balance the line here. I want to make sure that you understand that you matter too. You are just as important in this case as anyone else. I think that the victims are overlooked, that in the way that the victims go out a lot further than people think it is. Like when a death occurs in the family, it's like a bomb goes off. The closer you are to that bomb, the harder it is. And just because you're not at the, center right where the bomb dropped doesn't mean you aren't going to feel the repercussions of it. And I think a lot of people do tend to forget that. And, you are more than just Libby's sister. You are your own person. You're going to college for to solve cases like this. You're doing shows like this, trying to get more attention drawn towards your sister's case. You're doing everything you can, and I think that a lot of people, even if they aren't saying it out loud, do understand that what you're doing is very important, and that I don't know. I just hope you know that as a community out here looking in, we don't see you as just Libby's sister. We see you as Kelsi German, and we do see you as your own person. I just hope you know that.
Yeah, I definitely do. I just think that here, where I am now, like in Delphi, that's not what I am. I think I've created a name for myself, and I've created a community of people that really care about me as more than that. Like, they don't just look at me and see that my sister was murdered like some people do, but I think that community, it means a lot to me, and it's really great that I have them. I love my whole support system that I've created through this.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you do have a support system through this, because a lot of people don't. And I don't know. I'm very glad that you do, and I'm glad that the case is getting the attention that it is. And you were saying that current life in Delphi, that everyone's just kind of starting to go back to that more secure feeling. Someone that I've kind of been interested in the case, and it's the person whose land that they were found on. It sounds to me like he wasn't the most liked person around. Is that true?
I don't know him very well. Actually, I don't think I knew his name before then. Yeah, and that's probably all I should say. Okay. To put on the podcast.
I feel for him, because it seems like a lot of people have gone after him too. Just because he might be a little crustier than normal. If he was, I don't know if he is. I don't know the man, but I don't know. I feel like he might have been thrown into it too a little rough, and I guess what I want people to realize is that when people are out here just making wild accusations, it affects real life. Real people feel the ripple waves of these accusations, And so I really hope that people listening do understand that you can't just accuse random people just because that someone looks like a sketch or it was something happened here or there. Is there, before I just go on to one or two more things, is there anything, I don't want to linger on just the negative. Is there anything further that we can know about the case that would help?
I don't think there's anything new I can share. When there is, though, definitely pay attention to my Twitter, because I'll be posting all about anything that I can post about.
Oh, and definitely. And I hope everyone knows if anything does come up, I'm definitely going to make sure I update this podcast as well. And if it's okay with you, I'll definitely reach out to you and get some official word. Just so I can make sure I'm spreading the correct, truthful information. Because the internet is a place where you can find anything great or anything awful.
Yeah, I think that on the internet you can go on and whatever you want to be true, you can find something that validates your opinion. So whether you're right or wrong, you're going to find something that tells you that you're right, no matter what you're looking up. So if you're out there searching the case and you're looking for something to fit your agenda, you'll find it. Like, you can find something that'll fit it. You'll have to twist it into a million directions to make it go in that direction, but you can find whatever you're looking for, right or wrong, out there, anywhere.
So, before we go, let's just talk about you a little bit more. What's going on in your life lately?
Yeah, so right now, I just moved into my own apartment.
Congratulations.
I have a dog. He's being a little cranky right now. He's been my emotional support through this entire thing, pretty much.
What dog did you get?
So he's always there. And then, as of life, I'm a junior at Purdue, so I'm almost done. Just a year and a half left, and I can't wait for that day to be done. Yeah, and so hopefully as soon as I graduate, I'll get a job somewhere helping victims and their family members not have to go through this as long as I have went through this. So I just want these people to know like they have a support system, and I want to be able to be there for them. And yeah, that's my passion. So yeah, that's what I've been working on. That's what I've been doing. I can't really do a whole lot right now, so I'm spending a lot of time doing a lot of podcasts, working on a lot of projects for the case. I'm working on a lot of big projects that I can't share as of yet, but they'll be shared eventually.
Awesome.
Yeah, so hopefully we can just continue to do what we're doing, continue to spread the word and get it out there, because that's, right now, is 95% of my life. That's all I do. I'm always looking for new ways to share. So I'm getting a group together here at my college, and we're going to be doing some projects together and spreading the word locally, hopefully, because I'm only 30 minutes from home. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing.
Well, if there's anything that we can put out, send us whatever we will tweet, Instagram, whatever you want. Any of even my comedian friends, we'll help as much as we can.
Right, I think right now we're working on flyers. We might be doing, so because we have a foundation for the girls, my group of people has to be a lot careful on what they do. So I think we're going to do some like stickers and things to sell to pay for the flyers and stuff. But we'll see. We're working on it. We're doing everything we can as college students right now. College is a little tougher this semester than we realized it would be. So we're spending a lot of our free time working on that, but also trying not to overwhelm ourselves. So yeah, we'll have a lot more information on that out soon. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks, when we find a little gap of time where we can meet up and design the things that we're wanting to get out there. That'll be out soon, hopefully.
Well, very cool. If there's anywhere that, do you guys have like a donation page for anything like that? Or are you guys going to set one up?
I think so. So right now, everybody's been donating to like the foundation as a whole. But my group is not associated with that. It's just a group of college students that want to print out flyers but have no money. So we're sharing what we can, just stickers and stuff, and taking the profit and paying for that. And paying for things out of our own pocket as of right now. So yeah, eventually we'll get that stuff set up. I had my PayPal out there, but unfortunately people like to say that I use that money for myself. So we don't use that anymore, but we'll figure out something. I think we're going to create maybe like a website or something.
Cool.
And have everything in one place. Maybe create an account specifically for that. Yeah, we're still working on all the kinks, but it's going to be really cool. Really cool group of mostly girls. Also some of Libby's friends are involved in it. So yeah, we're just doing what we can to share in the ways that we know how, and using everybody's talents and abilities to the best they can to help us keep the word out there.
Very much so. And as soon as you guys get any pages like that up, let me know, and I'll post, and I'll obviously donate and help as much as I can.
Absolutely.
We will do as much as that we can do on our end to help. Again, the whole world is behind you. We really are. There's a couple trolls out there that suck ass, but the majority of people are just kind of quiet, and they just kind of stand by and watch. But the world is behind you, and we really do hope for the day that this man gets caught. We're praying for it. I really appreciate your time today. Really thank you for coming on the show. If there's anything else that we can do, please let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, you have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye. All right. Well, that was awesome. That was one of the coolest meetings. That was so cool. I'm really glad that we got to have that today. We got to share. This case has meant a lot to me lately. I have a lot of siblings. A lot of them are younger, and I could not imagine losing one of them, especially the way that she's lost her sister. It's the worst thing in the world that can happen to someone. It's the absolute worst thing in the world. And this for whatever reason, this case has always hit me a lot closer to home than a lot of the others. And I just pray that one day we find the man who did this. We have a video clip of him. There's audio of him. There's sketches. There's so much. It's such a solvable case. And the day that this man goes to jail is going to be one of the greatest days in the world. And again, I'll be posting more information to this. I'll post some links to the video of Bridge Guy. I'll post and the audio. And if I hear any updates, I'll make sure I post that here, and I'll try to update this audio. If not, I'll just make a new episode. Otherwise, I really just want people to know that this case is definitely not closed. It's definitely wide open. There's still investigators looking at the case, and don't give up hope, because one day this case will be solved, and all of this will be worth it. And I really pray for the city of Delphi, the people of Delphi, to get through this. Years go on, but when you lose someone, anyone who's lost someone knows that as time goes on, it just gets easier to deal with the pain, but the pain doesn't go away. And I pray that you guys have found some healing, and that one day all of this can be behind you guys. So again, thanks everyone for listening. Thank you very, very much to Kelsi German for being on the show. I really appreciate you. And to the detectives working on the case, you have the whole world behind you. We do believe in you. The people that mattered at least believe in you. Please don't give up. We really look forward to the day that you march him out on stage in a blue or an orange jumpsuit, and we can just see the face of the piece of garbage that would be willing to do something as terrible as this. Again, and people who know me, I'm rarely at a loss of words, and this case does have me finding myself at a loss of words quite a bit. So I would just ask that you be nice about the case on the internet. If you're trying to help, try to help. You might think you're helping, but if you're this guy Dexter the Bounty Hunter, you're not helping. You're being a dick, and no one's looking at you like, wow, this guy really knows what he's doing. People are looking at you like, can you please shut up so the investigators can do their job? I promise you, no one's impressed. No one's looking at you like, I really hope I can be this guy one day. No one's looking at a random internet sleuth who keeps making 1,000 accusations at random people, and then when it turns out to be wrong, starts over with someone new. No one's looking at you for help. I just really hope that you're listening, specifically Dexter the Bounty Hunter, and you cut the shit. Seriously, I want you to cut the shit, and everyone wants you to cut the shit. To the investigators, again, please stay faith, don't give up. The whole world is behind you guys. Again, thank you for listening. I'll post more information. And you know what? Before I go, let me go ahead and pull up. I'm just going to pull up the audio real quick of Bridge Guy, because to me, this guy, it is kind of important. So, give me 1 second here, and because my computer is incredibly slow. Bridge Guy, otherwise people have him just put down as BG. You can Google him, and he's just, the way he walks, just look at his mannerisms, look at the way he acts, look at the way he, right here, I'm going to start playing it here soon, but the way that he walks, he has his hands in his pockets, he almost has his head down, staring at his feet, and although he's walking on these spaced planks, he's walking in a way that he has definitely walked on these spaced planks before. And so I'm just going to go ahead and try to start this clip here. It's on play, but it's not rolling, so that's good. Alright, let me try this one more time. Alright, so what he's saying there is down the hill. There is another one where it says "Guys, down the hill." I'm not gonna try to pull that one up because my computer isn't going incredibly slow here, and I don't want to lose the recording. So, again, bridge guy is a guy in jeans. Looks like he's wearing a brown undershirt with a like navy blue windbreaker style jacket. He might be wearing a hat. He might not be. It's either a camo hat or he has some wild hair going on today. Obviously a white male. And the day that Bridge Guy is found will be a day that we all celebrate around the world. So again, thank you for listening, and I will see you all next time.